his future slashed by the threatening thirst of his black blade, Stormbringer. Elric, exiled emperor of fallen Melniboné, sets out in search of his destiny and a connection to the past. Having explored the Young Kingdoms and walked the Moonbeam roads, Elric is persuaded by his wife, Zarzinia, to take one last quest. In places lost to myth and only glimpsed in his previous wanderings, Elric, with his friend and fellow swordsman, Moonglum, journeys to the very ends of their known world and beyond. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Hemvar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Michael Moorcock's The Citadel, The Forgotten Myths. Citadel of Forgotten Myths is the Elric novel from 2022 and may well be the last Elric novel we ever get, as Moorcock is in his 80s and it has been over 60 years since The Dreaming City was released, which was later expanded into the novel Elric of Melniboné. And now, this recent publication by Socket Press says it falls in between the two volumes, which makes you think it would be in between The Weird of the White Wolf and The Vanishing Tower, but if you actually read the blurb in the book, it actually takes place between the novellas Kings in Darkness and The Flamebringers, which are in The Bane of the Black Sword. So it takes place in the middle of The Bane of the Black Sword. Two of these stories have actually already been published. The first part, How Elric Pursued His Weird Into the Far World, was originally Red Pearls. It's from 2010's Swords and Dark Magic. It's an anthology edited by Jonathan Strahan and Lou Anders. This story is pretty good, along with the second part, actually. So in the first one, we have Elric and Moonglum take a ship to the other side of the world, called the World Above, by its inhabitants, and it's not an easy journey, and the world is supposedly egg-shaped. The dream quests are mentioned, so these are undertaken in later novels like the Fortress of the Pearl and the Dream Quest trilogy. This far world is also treated almost as a different dimension of the multiverse, for the beings of law and chaos have different power there. I think the idea of a white sword that is used here is kind of cool, though it seems kind of obvious considering how many decades the black sword has been around. The second part, How Elric discovered an unpleasant kinship, is originally Black Petals from the March 2008 issue of Weird Tales. Elric seeks the black anemone in Soom. These legendary petals can apparently cure albinism when picked at the moon's highest point. The problem is that the ruins are populated by savage lizardmen. This one involves magic, evil flora, demons, and also Melnibonéans of sorts. This one's more of a traditional sort of weird form pulp fiction, probably because I associate deadly otherworldly plants with Clark Ashton Smith. This story obviously takes place after the first story, and if later in Bane of the Black Sword, Elric is reluctant to use his sword, and he's reluctant to use it here as well, but that makes me think it'd also be kind of like after Weird of the White Wolf. So I don't really know what's going on with the chronology here. It doesn't actually make a 100% sense if you think about it too much. Now part 3 in this one is way longer. It's actually twice the length of the first two combined. It is original. It doesn't have a good name like Black Petals or Red Pearls, but in this book is just called In Which Our Hero Discovers a Lost Pass. It's fine. I think it does have some pretty creepy stuff. It is actually one of the creepiest bits of Elric lore I've ever read. It also has some cool mirror kind of story elements to Elric's, like Emperor Melniboné type of thing going on. But it's way too long. It's way too long. It repeats itself way too much, kind of like I do in these reviews. And it's just too long. So the first two are really good because they're kind of a mix of older Moorcock and newer Moorcock. They're short and sweet, to the point, but the writing is a little bit better in a sense. The problem with later Moorcock sometimes when you get with his writing is that it is just repetitive. It's a little too prolix. And the first two stories are the best because it's Moorcock being more concise, present Moorcock being more concise. And so he's got these short, sweet sword and sorcery tales. And the last part is just too long. It's a novel in and of itself. And it just doesn't work as well. But that being said, overall, it's still fun. I mean, this is Elric. Elric is weird. But Moorcock is not ever known for his great writing ability. It's more of his storytelling capabilities and his mind that goes really well into the fantastic. And so I'm glad that even though I already finished Elric Saga earlier this year, I finished it again. So my reviews for the Dream Quest trilogy haven't even gone up yet. But it's been Liam's Lysam. Let me know if you've read this one. And by Ariok, I'm glad we got it.